Alright, abusia ma memo bibi akwaba na memfa umra Mega TV afidi kesi eso nyankopon enhyira obibia abribia mo support amode mai ewo platform we eso na yebesra we se unya subscribe ya bomodna na subscribe for latest updates fina abaso ena yidi obofo anenam ho apaso ena ye frɛ no obofo anaso obofo ne de nenam eho apaso yɛnyina yɛnim enema a ekoso ewo Ghana ha no concerning our economy. Ghana any Ghana puntuo ejapade documenti. In fact medical amonya ntie say about 36 pages of either 41 or so, and some ade we mono sebi it is enough for that, and some non quantity me Ghana and yet nase yankopon pangu God forbid say ebebo Ghana, but yet nase na ye nhwe han na yanka ho asema edi oyene odi kese mente me ho ase ene ensem bi a ini kwan senka eba oman mu. In fact odi beba bipi e o Ghana man mu. Ghana de eti ahodwo mu NPP for omo be fa ekosi amakom ena ne sabre ama yekowie bebia yawie na omo wie kura no omo pese omo cover the whole thing. Omo pese omo cover Ghana japade nyina na yentena se ebi ti se mega meti hono mi medikan aka obi anka meka se wanka medie meka se Yesu ye se wodie wonka medie meka se Yesu ye yes medie meka enti some people for peel so mu peel some of us bit is mega I will never keep shut yebeka. And of course so minor. Of course, this is the Japade documenta ebo minor. So we need to talk. We need to talk. It's needs some bold, brave, and nkofo omoto muhwesi honum a devoted person to talk. Yemisa say a lot of the media houses are belonging to NPP4. They are kum na maye unyami no di ma media kum na maye Professor Abraham yankopon kinim say yankopon fane currency emu yeso di anache se mega. I am tantamount to be sued. Anyway fache me nyemeni no kwadi yetena se na yekum na ye adwen se yen kasa. Things are getting out of hands. Things are getting, this time around is not things are getting out of hand bio sa bena ni ebu ejinsemu ene anyensemu eji nsansansemu ense bebre Ghana for eji nyina yensem. Until nowadays things are getting out of hands, so we need to talk. Ghana yete ho ende ya ye wo holiday mu aye commemorate your Founders Day ena nkrofo binom afa ho kansem Kwame Nkrumah is not the only person who fought for our independence. President Mua akasa asem nendra the speech of my Kwame Nkrumah is not the only person who fought for independence, we know, but according to history the five of them are here. Some of you muklemu so mukahono, they were backbiting him whilst he was fighting for the independence. They were backbiting him. Mokas will be backbite ya. Now mu kinkan na nemu, they were sabotaging. That is the word. They were sabotaging him. Inti anono say we actually na se momo dem ho bedoma. Would you expect us to tell to say you are part of the independent? Your President Akufo-Addo is saying this because ne papa Edward Akufo-Addo is part. Kinufurata ne papa William Sufurata ono so ka ho bi. Minim se ne wo fa so se ne din You see, and no credible baby was here come. This is the time we have to stop all those things. Although ye need the beman and need seno, but Ghana yentina sina yen can be, especially a Japadia book we need not to politicize it. It is a group of people and they want to take over this country in their own will, and it is in a sequential order. You can be a sequence, a sequential eba kakran in a gradual process. And you need now it's a chronic disease. A chronic disease or bow so bonzo did you kakran when you also now penetrate in your system. Now I say any now. And that is what this crop of leadership, that is what this crop of group of people are now saying. This group of people are mukle. All right, we say I'm fan chemi say sound no na emma mfa enchemi. Enti sa a chronic disease in ebedidi onipaduani ma to the extent say wani beba ho so no na ase onipaduani nyina. Enti eni kwan say yetena se na yehwe ochehene na oba abontin beka say oh this is a documenter na epese create and answer nkofo binuma insight. Some people they have sat down and planned to bring hatred between Ochimai and Asante mine, and we just take it like that. No, we have to call him the reasons why he is the foremost of that book. We have to call him the reasons why he is part of that book. I was saying, Yebisano, Yura President Akufo-Addo can never tell Ghanaians himself it is a fabricated story and that's a fabricated document. And for that matter, you can't tell us that it is a fiction. Ochene, yembisa edientia ankoye tribe bia ti say obono okobona ankoye Asante for na even ye ka NPP omomu dimutintiman pa eye nana kwan ote kokoso Asante for man hene otumfo osetutu nana pia o mebo memu ase. What you say? Omo ene wosenka by this time say book we etwere ede form because that is where MPP Manyuku efiri NLM National Liberation Movement ene by UP ene dan ho ena finally ebeye the MPP Manyuku ene muhu no enti ye bisa se MPP Manyuku efiri Asante Maimu empo se niema bi omo prejapade bi ama omo ho a it shouldn't be Akyem for, because Akyem for has no share in NPP. They have no share in NPP. And you can't sit down and tell us say this is what happened. And for that matter, they need to be called on authority. I will say from either by legal action, I will say it's me taking it on. And then don't tell us because of say we don't have the author of this book for that matter we should just watch this book. But how would you know say no more and the author he has not concluded and or train no more in the process and a book a leaky? How would you know that? Ghana for all the media stations, all the media, the print media, traditional media, and newspapers, any radio station, everything, social media activists, I would say a chance in bisa questions. We have to rise up and speak against this book, because book way and some woman it's me book. This is the Rwanda, Maimua. And some say sisi honoma ema enesambi Rwanda mine ekodi sanse sembisemu, all because of a Japade group of people be on person mojo mine Japade. Meanwhile Kwame Nkrumah operating independent in Wewuko, and he did not even take peswa of our money. Me say Kwame Nkrumah ni car no yusu ni fia otoye ni bibio yi nyano or the districts, and he is the only president that we're making a lot of achievements in our political history after independence. Kwame Nkrumah is the only president what me achieve a lot at the Ghana. It's more mobile den dwumadie na maye. Mobile den na maye, you people, you want to loot, share and grab all the properties. And after all, masan agye oman no say eyemo de. Enti no munipa abaye president, nobody, no matter your political affiliation, no matter your tribe, no matter wherever you belong to, you can never be president. You see, this is what they are doing. Now NPP for woman we defend the idea. In the book, go and read about him, how they described Kojo Nkrumah. He is now, I think, the works and housing Kojo Nkrumah. Now an information minister, but that's what I'm buying. John Boadu, the general secretary, former general secretary, almost so pensa he is addicted to alcohol. In Tramudo mbeti me in one time. Samia ukwe no dibo miyeche ne niajia obo sibo. And Samia Uku in the book they stated clearly said Samia Uku epema, so for that matter they can get him easily. Chama won to me. Me see questions bu hamumi bisa Ghana for Asante for this is the time you people have to come out. Adewe was a plan against you Asante for. This is a plan against Asante for. Intimate na say defend it because of say NPP. Don't sit at your corner and defend this criminality. Don't sit at your corner and defend this Japadia document, because in the long run it will come after you. In the long run it will come after you. Do you know that in the long run it will come after you? In the sense say yemisa say dientia chairman and Pibu Esiaku adodo na bone samnani wuntumi ena olidi Ashanti region. Untumi ena olidi Ashanti region. Alam Kojo Chidamantin na kwada adi wuntumi. Ono ena odi wuntumi bewura politics. Untumi knows nothing. He knows nothing about politics at first. In the beginning, no one knew for politics. Omadike Akase Untumi wanted to be a pastor. Untumi wanted to be a man of God. But Otina se share ne ho and trust in mu any niyama bi oye no, he can never do that. It never was or shifty and as or safety or whatever. Now or politics. And he was so lucky enough to meet Alam Kojo Chidamantin during those days. 2008 honum and almost one inside room. The only thing Untumi did is to pay Alam Kojo Chidamantin back bitterness, betrayals and bitterness. And Tidientia Omokofa Untumi bedi MPP in Ashanti region and he said Untumi he knows nothing about strategic plans. You can't confront here. See you assume that you bakwa kuti odi obi na botre. Ba mamenka sembi mambi bi sembi ani so kyerɛw. Me say subscribe to this channel. Nanya the authentic secret. Madika ke information ho. Yembisa say edienti Ashanti region kakrakawi. That is the MPP. Yebaka say omutel utwa abobidua na chese widen. Wenya na no. Achase. Yembisa say edienti MPP in Ashanti region. They voted for Yura. Chama Wuntumi menka se Chama Wuntumi illiterate minyankai, but the mepesa michi na say Chama Wuntumi doesn't fit for such position, and they wanted Akwawe omudin the saying, oh is it oh me ye fini di mo fanche me no mo pesa Asante for no pesa mo beden mo mane ba oh me ye firi meka kire mo is this the car also? Is this the car? No. Oh, Mofanche me. Ono na MPP for person obey the obedi omwanim e Ashanti region. He was the opponent to Chama Wuntumi. And for that matter, Asante phobia to send the pronom our more strategic man tenacity himself Chama Wuntumi be the MPP anima and phobia the omunsabe form because they can easily convince Chama Wuntumi. It is uncle for no. You were Dr. Matthew Puku Prempe Eco Dinam, 8 years campaign, sent Kobe Chama Wuntumi if you want then the Pakron Abyssin and 9 because that person was smart, that person was brilliant and excellent strategic man. And Uncle see and I chum for no. Akufo-Addo under his watch, under his influence, and then oti edi chamawuntumi wuram, because he knows clearly say chamawuntumi ewobia he know nothing about strategic plans. He know nothing about strategic plans. Say yemfa adwen na yemfa yenyi secret bi ne ade no. Chamawuntumi, he knows nothing about that. It's a dintia chamawuntumi mi bisamu e dintia ko wie a chese chamawuntumi didi Asante man hinatem. You take a course for what Bonnie Dia, why you say I could do or take a course for anima 1 fee. I will yin anima 7 koi, because this is the issue. Not action for they have planned. Utimi na oma planning da. You see, book in same mama yankin kind. I am urging all the media houses, my colleague bloggers, any more to social media, Sebi, and Sema Yana Mudia Chidino, Abusia. This is about Ghana, and this is about Uko Bruchil Kudim Pay Massa, Amudu Funubeba. So, Mom for Funama, anything will Busia Ewano. So don't sit at your corner and tell me, say, oh, media me found Ghana, I say no moka, media me private life. Media me found na say maybe uye japadia wa Ghana na obana omosia busia bi aji japadia no, because they have power over everything. A honum na bi hu se sebi bre a na ye kasa nsem we no odi wanu tumbi enanka asem ni ewie pe yanka beboa. Journalist biti se kwa misifa kan, he will never talk about it. Oye ni donka Paul Adumochi oye ni donka, and it is in the Ajapade book says they have been able to capture them in a sense say omo de omo hie sika omo no omo sika no mo pe afefede, so motor dan mo ewo East Legon ana Airport Hills, Central Hills, any sa cantonment ne sa places na wo Ghana hanan kofo any brace ombe oni state ombe oni amoka say what do you call it, mansion any de ka ho na omunya na omuma obi wi a omo kipu ano atum omo say we loud mouth we obi a okasa ekọ akiri in the media space na omo afre wo na omo atodan na omo do ato board so na wadidi etotwe na waka ono atum na ate ho no. And that is what Paul Adumochi any Kwame Sifaka no omodi ayo mo ne they will never tell you ucho muti kro mo nka no kware. It in semi koso and semi koso ye beko ne kwakuti audio bi na audio ni anye ni na, but audio yenko ni nkotie ensem bi esisi ensem bi a mo adigi into that. Me say Ajapade book we me say ye be fefe funu ani ne ye hu saman, ye be fefe funu ani ne ye hu saman, ye be fefe ne ye hu die ntia de ekoso e wo Ajapade book no, the reasons why, the motive behind I mom the trust Ajapade book no. Na yedi mi se nipa kro no in the due time no beyi ne ho apie, because ye bo aboa kusi ye bon wo bon musa with fire bon se last hour no wo tuafiri sa na ye pese de ye nipa kro twere da Ajapade book no. And omuka ne say in the coming days no bibi besi nyankopon hira yenkotie se no emfa brade koba yaka bia ne de beto aso media na mega nyankopon hira. Subscribe for latest update.
Edefa Ajapade book ho asama wo ka we obada kabre yenyina ye wo man mu ha. The moment I had 18 years I etime to aba e choose say we ntina akunya no so de obi nya akwala bio mu obada kabre ye niema bi comparison Ajapade book no wo kan baby a ewo mu say ebre bi beba ade a NPP for enyae no se omudi agroma akani bedi NPP so 2024 mu a omo akenfo na omudi anim sitia no omo ho beba time omo ho anya asem enti ewo se omo ye de omo hwi nipa hofra a ebia sebi we ni afo pepe bi na yede ni eba flag bearership for NPP. And also I kan Ajapade no document ni bi kwa anim a bebi bi wo ho a o trese oman no sika no so omofa kwan bi omefa so atima aboa oman ni sika e de ato omo akyemfo no omu nkyiri mba ho enti ebi ti say den PDS of other cabre oman ben de udi oman na Ajapade company ti say electricity e di show obi nsa abra e ho krata na wo ye no emba parliament ɔman mu ha obiara nim ho hwee a PDC betimi aba bɛgyegye amanfoɔ like bay prepaid bay agyegye ho sika bɛyɛ 8 months yɛmbu ho akontankyerɛ obiara wa ama saa company no yɛsɛ agu ɔfadakabrɛ menka nkum wɔ asomboa ɔman bɛn na obetimi akɔgyina sɛ wo si dan ama nyankopɔn that is cathedral asɛm na meka yo wotuwie emu anwie egu hɔ no mo atwe anwea ne nyinaa balaba di ha aba abɛpɔn adi owura ayi bawumia nim ho bio ɔmo atwe ɔfadakabrɛ sɛ ɔsɛ meboa NPP ni bi ɔbɛba hɔ bia bisa ne sɛ cathedral na ɔmo tu amina donko no anwea dodoɔ sɛ na ɔmo nya awotipɔ
na ɔfadakabrɛ deɛ meka sɛ NPP ni na nado aya no mo fese Ghana for ye ohuru ye nim a ye horo kɔ soro anase ɛyɛ ajapadie buku a ye kan ɛnyɛ nne ana enu ne bayo aba bese 5 years a yaka ho asɛm radio so television so muti me yi ano ana eniema yatwe wo mu nyina so emu bese 95% abam na ene wasole SN no kore bibia ye kan ye aba state capture eniema mo be fifa eniema mo betonto amo senate boss a muyi na dinna aja padie buku no newum enu ti die na do kan de waka yato atwini pum obi enu odi be adwuma na ya na bisi ye nto aba ma Dr. Bawumia adenti Ghana for no wo mo fe se ye serious ona Dr. Bawumia eniema wo kan ye 2020 wotimi ko gina Cape Coast ye Cape Coast for we are building harbor wanga so we will build o say we are building it means say o dey on kasa no na harbor no gusu e koso ene harbor no wen na do by peace from say no kore o man ka bibia sa
ajapadie book no yaw na agidi
o fa me nas ban fa ko yes na ben share with you for o fa me de Megidi dindende pa ba
o psychiatric hospital de kwa exam uti o gabi o che da ko se wuni abaji de register exam uti
so gabi na be in charge of that psychiatric hospital dia na emeko amana exam me na
na wujidie
ajapade document media madwene mu no megidi pa if you say if page 1 echo see the last page you know almost every plan be a woman has been implemented. Of us Obekaya, Emra Abawi Eba Bemuno, Omo Putu moratorium on the small scale miners and what we term as Galamsi, Omunina. Na Ekonim Kakra, Eman Crofosha say, can say, Baby Adrun Dianoshi, and Crofo from New and demonstrations are horror. Before say Abano, Oba left his moratorium. Na MSA per this book no matter say every omonshi share or mofi say for so be handle that sector no I affiliated to them. So Oba sha oko omon book no mu omo atro say licenses ahoro the issue emma your friends small scale miners any omo no omo dis adwuma no oko page 10 no estate ewo last paragraph of first, second, and fourth paragraph. The state will say licenses are issued on the 1st of July 2016. Meaning no null and void. Until se obi per se will sign those people should come back to reapply. Which means that they had concluded and confer say or more use for the company or more affiliated companies. Until page 11, 12 going now. Or more or less about 332 small-scale mining companies. Probably, it is alleged they are aligned with them from the various regions. And the person in charge to lead this exercise, according to the book, Ashanti too. Offer over banking cleanup sector, no, they were a course. It is exactly what they have, planned in this book. Indigenous banks, Omofi say Omoya affiliated to the opposition NDC and then other rival political parties. They decided to clear all of them so as to ensure their bank will be the banking sector that will be leading the financial sector. They have also stated clearly NDC, the largest opposition, were not smart enough to analyze the cost involved in closing down these banks. They have not asked them for detailed document regards the amount used in closing down of the banks. And indeed, that closing down of the banks allowed them to receive resources from backdoor into their financial sector. Offer insurance. Insurance and state insurance acquire bidding. No man can say state insurance insurance according enterprise insurance answer. Offer mesa muchiaba forward no my offer in the sense say every single item there has been implemented, and I said the plan appears to be one that say said it has been the most wicked plan ever to be implemented by a political party that came to, as it were, alleviate the plight of the people of the country. Interestingly enough, this document sought to alienate the Ashanti of their powers in terms of a more numerical strength. Into they planned that it was very critical to ensure, say, the battle or the mantle was not handed over to an Ashanti to become the flag bearer, but rather a non-Akan, and that has clearly happened. Into I believe the document, in total, from page 1 to the end.
Na every bank and that document, Osaka be.
Of Amesaka, the early part in first quarter of 2020.
First quarter of 2020, Nansakai. The book no one at Troy.
Of a book, Otano, maybe Mempese, maybe a Jimba Trigger. But of I say, there was say, Organia Cotton only baby or the Mokusi. Until they know themselves.
Now, book no, ya baby, the way and or your author now.
Of a also pushing me, I know what they can. Now, we don't say forward, first page, Nana or Sajifo, I'm watching for penny, and I actually do. And I say, what by a friend saying, after the forward, Newport forward, Ufuriata, simply Ufuriata, and I actually in pen. Right.
Ufuriata ni actually na say DM Ufuriata.
When you actually Ufuriata in pen.
Tinaja said there's one breath DM Ufuriata, there's another breath as you are saying Ufuriata. And to say it to me, it raises a little doubt as to the authenticity of the book. Ubebuan is saying.
Offer anybody who raised doubt about this document, now they want to say probably he or she hasn't gotten a copy to read. Now, so when you a copy, so I read now, or raise doubt on this book, and just say, "Oh, you're patriotic to this nation." In the sense, as a son can this see a BNC, yeah, we would have no cause to have held onto this document. Indeed, offer electricity company take over or Montumeno. Nina was part of the phase 1. In their setbacks, regards human compares or moody, Nanke be in number be do monsa. Civil society organizations, any opposition parties, every concern, am up to date. Somehow they couldn't materialize. It be a electricity takeover, which they took about 6 months bills from us freely, more or less. They didn't invest 1 peso, but they sought to take bills from the people of this country. More free, unless the action as Rebecca assembly, because the one put to any scabby said this is a sky idea to invest in that particular sector. Or more and yes, sir. A Japan LLC also, and also they were surprised. Say it faced some challenges, but they concluded by saying, say, because they included some non-Akyem people in their midst, and out of their greed and selfishness, NMA a Japan LLC was shut down by the minority, by the help of civil service societies, also or more crusading minority in their power to shut down that particular deal. But offer This book, and I said this document, I don't know. I would urge Ashanti especially to have copies to read. I will urge the Muslim community to have copies to read. I will urge the pastors, all of them, to have copies to read. So we are NPP near REGB because what is happening is not say the air course may be affecting opposition parties on board. The whole country. And interesting of the hard drink I say, and yeah, Akyem for no matters no my will, a sect of Akyem people, a sect.
For instance, the woman say, yeah, who could our copy no?
Oh, I could a copy.
Okay. Electronically, 38 pages. Hard copy ne kuta na as a photocopy ya reproduce one. How many pages?
The only crowd, of course, all the about 36 Johan.
You could turn 36. And electronically there. A woman phone so variously. Baako 38. Baako 41. In the head there na same book no. You could take different number of pages.
No. For instance, the first page in our picture it doesn't have a number, so you cannot include it as a page on its own. In the page in starts so can from front and back there, and you're not the cramming a version 38, but the numbering starts from the last chapter of the forward.
And the Okutano, supposedly book letter, ya photocopy, and you abandon it together. Yes. Who has the original book now? Ubenya color photo of Osaje from working for a penny na green, yellow, no idea him woman.
I know there was such copy, no.
But who has the because the Okuta and I said desktop publication be and the photocopy the so I'm asking, do you know say Obikuta hard copy away don't the photo in black and white our hinting that one more green and yellowy at them way.
Patron of that be may no soft copy and I'm a print free www.awakenewsroom.com and me hear copy. Now I'm starting to study the authenticity of that particular document. Now I have faced hostilities from that point on many platforms until recent times. And Sana Adewe Ebedu Babia Eduno. Yes, people.
A dear pana a wedge up a dear numua. Would kind your first quarter of 2020 and Sana subsequently at the Chrono Air BBC.
Offer make about the judiciary. And then I also mentioned about the gold value chain. At the time, gold catches be a buyer or mampani a cry about 100 of gold catches at the buyer. I looked at the distribution aspect of it and where they went and which people received them. Of course, I cannot mention all the people who received them. But then, Ocean Perform the distributors are gold catches. The more NBC who say, who are those people? Who are those people? And who are behind those small scale mining entities? Right? And these are areas, and especially when His Excellency the former President John Dramani Mahama, Becca said, or that balance the judiciary. A train margin about the perceived puffed up of the judicial system.
Now, first quarter of 2020, unsaka a copy of the supposed Japadie book, no. King Kind say at the time, no, 10 crying a year, Director General of Senate, none deputies, a year, Kofi Bosompem, and one another. Na years to come, ye better say Kofi Bosompem ever call into the Director Generalship of the Senate. Now what to me automatically secure a seat on the board of EcoBank. Now Etimiama because of that there be a seat on the board of Senate. There be let me get it right. A bit technical. Say Kofi Bosompem ye be 10 crying na ye de Kofi Bosompem aba na Kofi Bosompem waba aba benya the opportunity ama ye divest Snit hotels no na ye wa hare na yakwa akofa Sankoma yire ama ono so Ecobank na wo matimi anya board omo mienu no atimi anya seat on the board of Ecobank. Booking cars are there in 2020.
Offer making can but when I started platforms around because not omoma me kwama making car. And one say across the predictions into especially the latest with Owura Kofi Bosompem no. Making kind but nipa no kra na minim no. Menim ne sunu ne banse Owura Safuma for babisi. Until I have read it, but I had no research who this person is until said this particular thing dropped. And I said, no, this cannot be fake. Because who can book now be see, especially the Snake saga as well. It tells you clearly, say, nobody who is a part of this group or click or trust document. Bet me actually baby no trust book here or this document. Every single prediction has come true. And if you look at the fact that they were talking about their phase 1, which is the original document, review after 2020 election, the review that they have done tells you that they achieved a greater part of what they sought to do in the first tenure of Nane's office. His Excellency, the former ambassador to one of this country, Owura Ohene Jikumo or something. Officer, who a number, bet me a friend. No, besides, we need be a Japadia document in one. This document has been there for a long time, but we didn't give it the needed attention because, after all, yemu wait into the Obeka, Ubia, Sanke, a quiet to say, astute journalist phobia, and also be a said in a voice a question, and no boss some way. And can I say you actually a chepa, but we ignored all chances that we got to have followed this document. Now can bet me a block of certain things that they have done to this nation.
Okay, yeah. My show. A Japadia document, first page in your forward, right? And then after forward, we bring 1.0 up to 1.44. Now 1.0 up to 1.44 no economic and financial sector control.
Yes.
Now economic and financial sector control no. Do you recall dear no mokafa Dr. Papa Kusindom ho dear no mokafa Dr. Kwabena Dofo
ho Dr. Papa Kusindom say about financial sector now can we an impact in terms of coverage in this country. And me myself, 2014, I used to work with First Africa Savings and Loans. My gift as a company and as a bank. A little bit of insight regards or more operations. Now, we are Papa Kusindom. It had become a threat to allegedly our former finance minister. And say Obeka Random Edene within the paper better said this is the letter that went to cabinet. It was shut down and later on for some reasons will be a to me a new group of people. It could have sent a bank. Dr. Papa Kusindom was a threat and he was a political rival to this incumbent and of course other political parties. Into seeing how he was expanding, it was necessary to say now more such expansion within the local banking system. So that the alleged data bank could rise above all these financial institutions. Into there was a deliberate plan to oust him from the financial sector. And anybody who was also close, which is Owura Dufo also, another person I know also did into my banking sector. Mama contact on a bank maybe. Until I knew a little bit of them, and like I said, national financial sector. Until I knew a little bit of all these people. Until because their political affiliation were not aligned with the current administration. It was necessary that they found ways and means to get rid of them. So that they could, wield the the financial power to be able to control all these areas. And not just them alone, but other banks also are accounting. So they planned that let's get rid of them. And that is what happened to Papa Kwesi. But unfortunately, I know this particular aspect of making a new book, but it was alleged. If it is true, Papa Kwesi, after his bank was closed down, he fell on allegedly if that is true, to go and plead on his behalf. So when some of us heard that news, I never put it out though, but I told myself that if you would want somebody to mediate on behalf of you, would you go for Gabi Ochedakun? Right now that the whole thing has completely collapsed, you turn around to go and now petition your opponent that you describe his governance as the most worst one, that if you voted for him, you have wasted your vote. But that is just by the side. It was a deliberate attempt, and they succeeded because at the time, we were not privy to what they were about regards the financial sector until recently.
Yeah, and he just said, Ujidipa.
Offer Mejidipa. Nobody can.
Because Utie a year or and I will share a dear Gabi Ochedako Troya or say a year then a year yet village back home. Na semi were evil plan, evil only used to the word evil. Me were evil plan against a year sa village na yet timunua. Na matna se na matro said the mayeni na babontin se baseya. What would you say me evil plan no me tro yes said the mayeni na babontin no. Now who say any pano? We here to have your head examined. This is coming from Gabriel Nanaya Isari watch the Dako.
Odi Nanaya also, and my namesake, but I call Ralph Francis Kakra. But you know, to Asoni December 20. Offer, I'm happy so we use the word evil plan. And indeed, this document is interestingly evil. What I mean by that is that offer coup d'etat the Brazil African continent, including Ghana. Before say coup base no nipa ba kum bi no the trust e hia ase no mo anwene mo apenko form be trust mo na omo e de ho plans egu ho. Many a times on the African continent, coup d'etat has been fought as a result of the fact that somebody was included. We feel say adwon we de adwon fin enti e bi a me fa chira kwa report. Enti it is the same situation in this document. Whoever leaked it has helped Ghana. But unfortunately, the opposition parties have sat down for almost everything to be completed. Otherwise, no sanka. Nipa leaky document earlier. Nipa leaky document in earlier no sanka ye fa no serious and kebia we could have stopped a lot of things. And the all is neither here nor there. Somebody who was not happy about this document, any leaking, but offer interestingly, NPP members, big shot within the NPP, some of them, and they authenticated, say, true, because a bit F and now Mukopa and Faumohano, or more kind, Nasa be a meno mushia, or Mukasa Masa, Sabia will dear, yen to me, Casse, and Yamukure, Efa and Sensemosis, and especially Rabos on Pemlady and Bayan. I have had a big shot of NPP telling me that so papa.
But right? Now, sad document on the Siano, President of the Republic say a fake. Osaji for motor for a penny, as soon as PSC say a fiction. And Gabriel Chida conso and I just say a evil document and yet likely so mobile me I am Hojuma. Obese high evil plan. What's your part now? Almost fast, I'm you go. Auntie just one can say me at last year plan say Samia Ukudo or ma into bit me the ma a yinash form. I say why for what purpose? What the almost far John Buadu a John Buadu there or ye a pure man and intino or the San Ebe Frimo. The almost come back or your pon croma. Tan must have personalities. One more or that same group. She don't come back and they compare when Japan. how would they plan so man crop for say no me be yo
offer ekuo bia even abusuam kura no we onkrofo a omo ho if you look at the caliber of Samuel Oku, may I advocate Samuel Oku should file to for the flag bearership and cannot make BCC or partner can be an easy cry. Samuel Oku is a shining star. Everybody knows, both opposition and incumbent likes him, the youth especially. You can't beat that fact. Samuel Oku and others, I don't want to speak for them, but my instinct tells me that they have been very clever in managing this document to stay afloat. So the bear among Koye Bibia, Ebemo say, okay, you are not aligned to the next course, right? There are some of them who are just being strategic and diplomatic in being with this incumbent. Deep down their hearts, they know what is happening. Everything that has been said about those individuals, I am in personal ones, over. Tell me which one has not happened and which one is not true. Probably Samuel who has been very clever. Over the Rollins factor. Am I a movie say Rollins? How could he have died so early? The Rollins factor, I don't want to go there, but if you read it, it's damning. And they did it the way they did it. Who would have thought that His Excellency Nana Danko Kufuor, who was Attorney General then, Rollins now, we perceive so or motiado to the extent that he, as an Attorney General, has time to be corrected and revoking the privileges at a point in time. Now, this same man comes back to power, and then the Rollins' family becomes so close to one of their worst and our sworn enemy in politics. How did you understand this whole thing? To the point that the Rollins factor were against their own party that they formed. Also, let us be truthful and candid with facts, right? Your friend is down. Rollins we need to examine and scrutinize it because baby I do it.
I just omutimi a seeming rivalry between Oladmochre and Chairman General Kwame Sefakai, describing Chairman General as a calm, cool, and collected person who would always want to wait for the right time to strike, as opposed to a Apostle Paul Admochre or no aggressive and appear to poo-poo any suggestions. You better some grammar, Chairman General Edin Abemobi. For what purpose were they writing this?
They have studied the demeanors of all the your friends, the larger population of the media, especially those we describe as senior journalists. The description of Kwame Sefakai, is it not accurate? Is it not right that he's cool, calm, and collected? What he does behind the scenes is not my business. The description of Paul Adumochi, is it not accurate? Is it not exactly who he is now? Because you see, Paul Adumochi, in my opinion, has made journalism some sort of a comic relief for people.
We want to talk about, they were describing them as such, drawing knowledge on Omumienu Enka. For what purpose? Yes. For what purpose?
Fine. So, in America, so they have studied the individuals who we describe as senior journalists. Also, in every spectrum of life, if it comes to the entertainment industry, whatever, gospel musicians will be on a rival and they have their beefs here and there. And sir, Kwame Sefakai, and I think I stand to be corrected, most of the journalists radio good and mother or more firm and into be a strength. How far this person can go and that. Even as we speak, we have top journalists who are enemy to their top journalists because of probably the way either they are rising or some of the things they do behind closed doors.
Yeah, this president of the republic is a fake, a propaganda. Sans and seminar over the years. Ya can't find ama ne yedekura no dono Elin and cancer Jamina 30 years ago. I would free mo in July 30 years ago. No, still and Crawford can say on the coon no Nina ya asama yaka at the etoro so near the in the same vein. Anna Japadi so no the opponents NDC we the secret Samijan Fika, and now all my church with the Tiano.
Of a Crawfordian who I actually now within that very moment, no, I admit to say, men are very unless you use some force, either they call something minimal force or the other way around. Until say Ghana for the door can document me. It's also another danko for those opinion.
Can say near the day
to understand what has happened to the economy.
Adakabre, say Japadia book we ask them no or for a penny fee. Nana do no more gabi or da konomu. Nana be due to yes, lawyers pa. Krata we be told Gano. A check. As Omunim say Krata and free a him fee hoa. And then you were more busia Japadia. So Supreme Court na control.
Men kasa, please.
Oh, your book we move.
Oh, you're professional.
No, our book no.
On control Supreme Court.
Okay, he's in charge.
In charge
of the country. And so he's not afraid to go to court. Obetimi asuma Attorney General. Say kosanimiti na same way I koso no. Emfa minimum ho hwe. Onye bibia sa. Okonsu na okokotu su no pia. Book na wo se unimu ho hwe no. Insenkyereni ewo mu nyina na ehunu wa asase ya udi so ma ye se president. Enti ene omumia omo e. Ene omumia omo anu up to now. Na election e baso. Enti wabetu nenu tu ya. Ebe my opportunity to look inside the book. Na ya hwede e wo krata anu mu. Na offer penny fie hono. Ohimpono nidin eda krata anum a nimfoni edaso a nanado su biaso as the president of this republic. Obian contests abuku no say enye nokre. Na de ehu kakra wo mu ni say obia ka no ebisa say nanado say o si krata we enye o krata no obi etimi atena titi say wada kabre what transier steady nanado danko akufuado as steady ahinie a ohyase bi koche bi hona na wetimi atrokrata na reflect exactly over nanado ni ruling na dia asem na nanado betimi aka fasa akrata no na je se nipa bi nimu pa na je se nipa bi nim nanado pa senior obedi president ebinum ka say Kofi friends say unkai me kakra Kofi
obi wayo
no
Kofi
Kumsen o ka say na do ni pa na nya de a o mayi ye de hye ni nsa ebeyeye owura nya ho nya hota makro onu so ka say na do dan kwa kufu ado yo bi e de o man Ghana e hye ni nsa they cannot sleep. We have seen it now. Adakabre bisa homa mi o se ekoba ni sen ena obitimi hye nkoma na nado se na nado ye bese ye take over Senate na ye take over Ecobank Transnational na ye betimi take over Ecobank dia wo se ye nya ye ni nipa no ko Senate as a director general na Ecobank nso Senate wo shares wom enu masiniti kwama director general no etra board no so enti no yempeye ni aye nipa na onkoye director general na yentimi control Ecobank Transnational wo mu hwe omu akrata no mu no na osafo mafo ba eye Kofi Busompem ene wo mu hihye se adwuma no ma no miwa no ukai se wo mu befa akonwa ya na nado danko akufu ado onu ankasa ni chocho mucho oro osafo mafo beka kire Ghana fo nyina se public sector achoki bebi aban ehwe nipa fa nipa ema na adwuma no ewa achoki enti no obi anya adwuma anye enti uwie university a ope bebi fa uye teacher ni a pe bebi fa uye nurse ni a pe bebi fa wo mu hwe ya na teacher fo ni do so no mo se ye de lance exams baba this all cultural exams bi asana ya maw adwuma ebinom atwera paase teacher for omoda so gu fie sisi a na so owura asafo ma fo di ni ba no ko owura senate hwe na anu ya wa be director general sisi a oti Eco Bank board no so enti insuo toye na ye ni efura ye hu a enti ye ti afom afọ no so adakabre edo so yi se ebisa obi ana say ye ni efura na se ye hu kura na eja asese wa hu se eja na eje adakabre omu kan sa fa central bank ho ekwo mbe fa so take over central bank enti enu the first time no mu ba ye na hwi directors ewo ho board members ni CEO ewo ho mefa Bank of Ghana the governor ni deputies hwim omu yi omu free ho enu omu di ho be ma atoa desin a wa bo bank ika Bank of Ghana more kada in the history until Nanado took over this country since Obaye or starting loss from 1.8 billion says our boy is over 76 billion Ghana cedis. And also obi na trauma omo ana hwe enterprise group wo mu hihia de wo mu hihia say ebusiafo no be take commanding height enyume bia ya ban de no wo mu di wo mu be hyem no wo mu control etu ka ya PDS Electricity Company of Ghana wo mu try so wo mu be fa PDS and civil society groups any minority in parliament did wo mu gmu at the end of the day ECG super SOCD say they were not able to take over empo emra America for this sika ebre free America for can say nanado uni wo umanfo na musimu ya private sector giant na mo aka mu ho abomu no munyi mu hu anasa ban ni nyi no hu free interfering with the taking over of ECG nanado say ne be sa de ne musika no mumfa America for catch nanado say you say free ho na oman no nya ho faso no osisi obeyi ni say free ho de ne America fa osika ampanzo sika no boy ema ECG ejira baabi ejira sisia. That is the person we are talking about. Neti wo ona say usi book we unyi ntumu a na je say undo Ghana na je say uyo obi asabi
esu jitum so you should have your head examined.
No onu de onu gabi no we didi Ghana fo nyina atem na minim say ka Ghana fo nyina ye tibo mu a powerful da onu ni de na oditi Jubilee House wono
agabi oti Jubilee House sir
any onu no break you all the deals busiano yes here enterprise group enterprise so uhwe omu history a na ye Ghana fo ye dia na ye ya na bedi kenofori atanche enu omu asise say who say wo SIC State Insurance Company adakabre adenti na wo say aban japade yen offices ni ya dan inuma infidi nyuma bebire ya aban de wo say ye ma insurance backing ye di ni nyina akoma enterprise group a ye ken oforiata dia. The issue is that they have to control the insurance industry. Who can say COVID buy ye insure nurses ye insure doctors ni nyina state insurance anya ba akokra ni nyina enterprise group mamini ukasa sisia no ye state insurance company no egu esinse hokwa wo muti offices kwa but services that also omu provide enye sika de bu o ma ye no ni nyina kwa akodi ye nua kenoforiata or enterprise group wo mu steady ya etra himfie ho plani asofufuo ekon be fa so a breaki asofufuo bi down asofu we opeska na we ye say eno omu analyze ya bedru otebri so pastor otebri emo mu jitu say otebri obi a oti wo mu ase onu wo mu ko benkrum na de omu ye ya etia otebri awa twini ho afiri wo mu ho the collapse of the banks. Collapse of the bank, dear see omu ba office omu control financial sector. Enti yan kukuru bibia farmer kenoforiata data bank. to extend say aban kwa akɔbɔ busia companies omu jinam edi juma etwi sika bre aban no ye di ni nyina akɔma ken oforiata eti ukai bukuru baabi a any matters are rising na tam omu ba be gu capital bank uka say capital bank na ye papa otebu na hona na ye board chair wo mu hwe banks a Ghana mpanyinfo bi sika wom say ye wan so na ye bank na wo mu pese wo mu break you down then they attack you ye papa Dr. Kobradufo wo mu collapse in the bank ye papa Dr. Papa Kwesi Ndum dia boni na papa ye so the banks in konkurase say they be financial inclusion a part of our strategy as a country no e be succeed no uba na obe collapse papa Nduma to extend say mo ukowura e wo ti regional mo famina na ye papa Kwesi Ndum ye say e be ya mo ye krafra manone e be reduce no uba ye say Nduma ni nyina egu na wo mu frɛ fekeke da na wo mu frɛ otabri wo mu di tu nanim sɛ masa capital bank ye ba be guru but nidia ye wo ma ni bu a ye wo ma so ka ye hunti ene ye frɛ wa ka kyerɛ when that news was broken to Dr. Dr. Mesa Otabri, according to them ni demeanor change here and that has reflected on him to today.
Inti sanity. Inti ejapade buku no nyameni no kwardie yenja ho asem ka emme yese 9-day wonder ye ka ho asem just 2 weeks pe na ye giant at honom na de nsa hye demri from ne nkasa mfa ho bi. No, it is not going to be that. Some of us we are interested, some of us we think about Ghana. Me see uyo obi na sori na won dwene Ghana ho a, it is like say o ma me no papa wo na umbu omo. Yemfa de sei obi bia ni ho a obe disrespect ne ma me ne papa ama omo be raise curse on that person or be successful in life. Obi bia ni ho uji aduro sedien uye sika duro sedien ebe wi akiri wa brabo be basa. And that is how it is. Until the more you disrespect your parents, the more they raise curses on you, no, and no any be bring you down. And it is like say uti o maimu no for mine no fadin yefi. And you are seriously always you are working. So any productivity. So meanwhile the government, meanwhile the economy is not resilient. So it will never be lenient to your hard work. You get my point? It will never be lenient to your hard work. Until there was a Ghana first. That is the reason why Kennedy Akumpekwa Japan. I cherished this man so lot. I like him as a person, not as a political baby. And I like him as a person. I see the Ghana first, and Yebeji Ghana si ho. Yebeji Ghana si ho. Osaje fo Kwame Nkrumah oye no sebi na ni moje ogu ni mu no is the same thing and mega meti egu memu is the same thing and be running veins wa wo hwemi it is why then say yenso yentumi ye bi ye bagi Ghana si ho on my way. This is the time I was say on my way. Things are getting out of hands and nema ekobone and we need to talk. Some of us nyankopon ye aduma yetim kasama nkofoti no, we have to utilize that opportunity to make sure this country is in the right path. It's in the right path. It's yentenase emma busia ketuwa bi. Yentenase emma abusia bi. A omo ayo omo adwense ombese omanwe. Omo ayo omo adwense ejapade and omo be prayer. And okay, the history of the big six now is stated clearly. Say ebie de Kufuado, Oforiata Williams, Oforiata, Obiche Bilente, Akunjei, any other uncofono mo constitute money here the 5 and the 5 from you ran chroma can home money 6, you know, and 5 from you ran a mile. Obiche Bilente, Akunjei, any momoka, omu Kwame Nkrumah mae, or because of a brofono, Sikabia no munyo from ho. So that is the reason why they were calling for independent later. Ana you're a president, and as the former president, so now we preach for independence now. We need the independence now. Because na sanko for no the five for no akufado ne papa ka ho William Sufurata ya de onso ne papa we say ne wofo say whoever e ka ho no, they were preaching for our independence and our freedom later, whilst Kwame Nkrumah was preaching for it now. It Mr. Sanko Fukuo mienu hwan e na adwon man no, and ye ka say obi e founder. Who is the founder? And President Akufo-Addo want to tell Ghanaians say he is not the only person who fought for our independence, and we understand that the other people don't know what was their rule. I didn't do before say omubeka papa na ho ama maji omanisi ho no ye beka no kwere okuro ma niam nkoyi. And let me tell you, this is a history, and history cannot be rewrite. And then me hwe Joy News na me hwe Joy News yewura yaw anochi loyal yaw anochi nyankopon hira papa we sa nyo no a enka binisen ka ban na Ghana ye history no mo de omwatwa butu no lawyer yaw anochi na me hwe no anapai ensemo kaye enemo kaye na no timi say this is a hatred ankofo no omo plan since before the year is it 1848 riot buy no. Hatred be a cause. Hatred be a cause within the year 1848 honum. I don't want to go into the history deep because and some honum. So our history cannot be rewrite. Our history, it can never be rewrite. It's in less focus on development of this country. Na enjoy more pray for independence. Ye papa, ye ofa, ye uncle, one ye nephew, na ye na dia dino. Enjoy more. Na yem focus on this economy ankofobinum, upon all the crisis, upon all the messes, upon all the squandering of funds, upon all the embezzlement of funds, upon all the useless thing on my they still want to take over this country. Let's talk about that. All the media houses, let's talk about that. All the social media commentators, let's talk about that. This is the time I was in Kasafahum. This is the time I was saying Naija self and parochial interest, selfish and greediness. But this is the time we have to stop it. We need some space. We need some time to discuss about Ghana, how Ghana is faring, because of many year also be ye. And Kayebu baby say in India me mindful ninti or minor ebre. Almost say Okandinino in Frainia. In fact, Mamudi chain nano, a chance more in fry for everywhere you go, no, you have been blindfolded. I was at somebody be a catamony. And you were a candy folk crumha. That's one to 20 ye, no 1 year, no was or more yet. Now at the end of the day, no, a show more Emma Bibia said any quantity qua. We are going to suffer, and we are the future leaders, the Biamica. Me metiano menyanyi yo ebi abedwin se bi amanyi in 20s ewe 20s early 20s yenyanyi early 20s. So this is the time we have about 60 years. I weigh nim, yes, me na make nyankopon ishalew. You have about 60 years. You have about 60 years to spend on this earth. Si nyankopon ba why would I come here and talk as if say or mine nyame kwa bruchiro ko bobraye den krana obeba Ghana abi investment. So talk about this country yankasa fambo o my will yanji o my will sia si ye beji o my nesi hono beji Ghana si hono yankopon hira ma memfa wisi yemre ne ko ma memfa wo esi. Subscribe for latest updates. That is my only thing I make actually na fa comment to like you no we say just subscribe ye be mu hu de ekoso. Either they like it or not, true to no omobeti no masun mumpo ye beka no kware. This is the time. It de bia meka vote for JDM kona kotwa banama John the money mahama na ye hwa ade no no so ba no be ye pesemikum ya ye hu se Ghana sisi no totally NDC na NPP amomwae and JDM isa law so wura we ba na wamnye no so ya ye betwi na free presidency will be forced in 4 years the beso. Trust me, ye betwi na free honom ye be yi na free honom before say ni 4 years ni beso ye mane ntina ho no ense ye sika ense ye japade ense ye niema se de kufado dia ye no ye betwi ne firi ho no before say ni na yi beso the tenure of office beso. And you should be prepared. You should be mindset no prepare ni because oba na obi ye nneema mfata won watch him yentimi nhwe ne sebi say de aponchi asi sebi soap ho okabi onye yi ono so nja ahwe ye de enye sa ye beka bi ne ahwe ye besi bia na esi but uye bibia oman no nti Ghana first yendwi oman ho mami chi ba fo nyankopon hirawo ohwe mi free America New York. Fine bopo. And so it must say heat no ewo man mu it's about for studio haina me maame roye bi ewo UK nyankopon enhira me maame sans na me maame ba ko nso university ahwe me maame nyankopon enhira o maame university na wo ne hefa na ohwe me firi nyankopon enhira papa de bia ma hu se ota ba ye ye comment section honom ebe have some conversation nyankopon enhira maame nyankopon nyo kese sans na Canada for Amoshe, any Italy for all the European countries, Germany, Belgium, Spain, Netherlands, any Obibio Shibiano, Yankopon, and Yamokesio. Ghana has Moshe pa Yankopon Shiramo. A majority of our viewers in so free Ghana, Yankopon, and Yubibia Kessie, Semajiatum as one of the best political platform on YouTube. Momo Nanamon subscribe to the channel. Now I feel so share and find to different platforms on WhatsApp, Facebook, any Twitter. Share for my wife. Nyankopon share. Na ni na ka Nyankopon adwuma ne ho. Ni na ka Ghana ye bejiga nesi ho. Ni na ka ho because ye kasa in authoritative. What you say? In authority. Ye bejiga nesi ho. Omupo omumpe ye bejiga nesi ho. Ye bejiga nesi ho. Mami fa unsi. Ahom brasidi midian mega Nyankopon shira. Bye bye.